the truth of the matter. I am Charmaine the Goddess, owner and founder of the Goddess Gateway. And today I have the privilege and the honor of having Miss Hennrietta Dodoo here with me. Henrietta recently completed the 4-month program through the Goddess Gateway. She is the owner of House of the Radiant Rose. She is a certified spiritual life coach, a Reiki master, and also a certified stylist. And when she comes with the fashions, she comes with the fashions. So, Henrietta, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Charmaine. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm excited. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. Yes, I am the founder of House of the Radiant Rose. And like you stated, I'm a spiritual life coach, Reiki master, and personal stylist. And essentially, I'm just here to just help women just release any old identities that they currently have that's just not working for them anymore, just so they can remember who they truly are and express themselves accordingly.
So tell us a little bit about who you were before you started this whole journey of becoming a life coach and wanting to help other people. What did your reality look like?
Sure. I came from, I lived in West Ghana, I said West, in Ghana, Africa for about 8 years. So I grew up there and I came here when I was 10. So I came here with an accent. I still have my accent. So I dealt with what a lot of children dealt with, which was bullying. Also went through a lot of childhood trauma through family and just circumstances. So that kind of made me lose my voice. I stopped speaking. I just became extremely shy and I was just scared to use my voice. And I also gained a lot of survival identities like people pleasing. I was scared to say no. Um, just couldn't, I didn't feel safe to just be authentically me. And unfortunately, I carried that into adulthood. So as an adult, still had the same survival identities, not being able to say no, people pleasing, scared to speak. But I also became a perfectionist. So career-wise, excelled. I did the schooling, got my master's, became a director at a Medicaid health insurance company. But I still had those patterns, and I realized around 2 years ago, I think I awoken and I realized something has to change. I'm giving a presentation at work, and I'm scared, but these are things I have to do on my job. Even with my parents, they'll tell me to do something, and as a mom, a wife, I'm scared to tell my parents no. And something just clicked, and I just told myself, you have to work on yourself.
So
Um,
what would you say was the main factor of something has to change? What was that aha moment that you had that made you go, I have to do something different?
um, so this happened around 2 years ago, 2024. Honestly, so I went through a lot in 2024. I was dealing with a lot in my marriage. I also started having some health issues, and I'm not really sure exactly what was the click, but something happened,
Do
and
you think it was like a combination of things that happened?
yes, I think all those like the health issues, things going on in my marriage kind of caused it. But to be honest, I also started just seeing certain things online. I grew up Christian and I've always questioned things. And I started seeing things that just made more sense online. So kind of just made me start doing more research. And that's kind of how the whole process started.
Okay. So curiosity piqued your interest.
Curiosity. Yes, yes.
So what made you choose this specific path of spiritual life coaching? Because there are a lot of different people on the internet saying a lot of different things. What made you go, I believe this. This resonates
Yes,
with me the
yes,
most.
yes. So again, 2 years ago, as I started just trying to find myself and all the things I was going through, I discovered Reiki and I had a session done. And the lady that did the session, she's also some kind of, I guess, medium. And she told me that I came from a line of healers. And that didn't really, I've never heard that before. No one has ever told me that before. But even though it didn't make sense, it still kind of resonated a little. So I kind of, spoke to my mom about it. And essentially, it just made me realize, just through talking to people and research, that I have a gift of just creating a space for people to just be themselves. And that's a type of healing. Also, through that process, I spoke to a channeler, Elliot Eli Jackson. And through that session with him, it was very, very enlightening. But he basically kind of said the same thing, that your purpose is to help people. And you should really look into spiritual life coaching. And it just made sense. It just made sense. And it kind of just felt like I've been always trying to find my purpose in life. And even though I excelled in my career with school, I had, my life looked perfect on the outside. I had, the husband, the kids, everything looked fine. But internally, I felt like something was missing. I wasn't truly happy. And
Yeah.
once he said that, it just made sense. Like, this is what you're supposed to be doing, just helping other people.
It's interesting because it's like Reiki is often like a gateway into the spiritual
Yes.
awakening or that whole process. Before I even started a spiritual journey or had my
Mm-hmm.
my first true awakening, I also got a Reiki session done by a lady that I worked with. I worked
Mm,
in an herb shop. I was the assistant manager and she was the manager. And she was like, "Let me try something on you," because I was stressed out. I'm talking about life was kicking my butt.
yeah.
You hear me? And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, "I want to just give you a Reiki session." And I was like, "Reiki? What is that? What do I have to
Mm-hmm.
do?" So she did it, and I couldn't explain it, but I just remember afterwards I got up and I was like, "If I could stay like this forever, everything would be good. I don't want nobody to
Yep.
talk to me today. I don't want
Same.
anybody to impact this energy that I had." And from
Yes.
there, I went home and I did my own research on Reiki, and that's how I started my journey to become a Reiki master. So I think
Mm,
that's interesting how
mm-hmm.
the people who are usually drawn or pulled to Reiki are the ones who end up being the healers.
Right. Right. I agree. I agree.
So now, what was because we worked together for 4 months, and I
We
could
did.
literally watch you transform. Like from the first session to the last session, even our meeting from earlier today, I have seen you shift and change and transform. But I also know that it is not easy to do. So, what was
Mm-hmm.
the hardest part, the hardest truth you had to face about yourself in that process?
Um, Honestly, that I am the creator of my reality. And some of the BS that I was dealing with, I created. I think that was the hardest truth, even in my marriage, that I've been you're the problem, you're the problem, you're the problem. And I was finally able to see clearly how I created a lot of the issues that we're having.
Okay. And I think that's hard for
Mm-hmm.
people to look at themselves and go,
Yeah.
wait, who created this?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are always creating, and people will create like manifestation courses to teach you how to create and teach you how to
Mm-hmm.
call things into being, when the truth is you don't need a lesson to tell you how to create, because at your pure essence you are creating and you're always creating. Now
Right.
when we create lives that don't feel good to us and lives that we don't like, that is a telltale sign that we have not been creating with intention.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one of the biggest things is acceptance of the reality that I have created this. Everything that I'm experiencing, I created this.
Right.
Once you accept that, then you can shift that energy and focus on creating with intention. So you do have a life that you love and that you want to live.
Right.
So working with me, I know it was the best experience. One of
The
the best
best.
experiences of your life.
Yes, agreed, agreed.
But was there a moment where you had enough, enough of me, enough of writing papers, enough of pushing yourself beyond your bounds? Was there ever a moment where you just wanted to say, you know what, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm cool.
Um, yes, there were. One thing that you helped me with was you really pushed me. I think you saw that I had a lot of fear around being seen, especially in this new identity that I have. I had a lot of fear of just putting my spiritual side online, and you were like, nope, you're doing this. I hear you, but you're doing it. And I was not very happy with you.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
I
that.
was not happy, but ultimately, that's what I need. I needed that push. If I didn't get that push, I wouldn't have done it. So that was the hardest part, just being able to just speak my truth online. And you pushed me to do that, and I'm thankful for that.
Well, I'm thankful that you stepped outside of your comfort zone and did it because you are
Yeah.
here to activate so many souls.
Yes.
So you have done the work and you are still continuing to do the work. I'm still continuing to do the work. I
Hmm.
feel like as long as we are having this human experience, there will always be some work to be done
Yep.
because we are constantly growing. What would you say is the most the most misunderstood thing about doing the work?
Um, I think you just stated it that you're always going to be doing the work. I feel like on this journey, it's like you keep uncovering new things that you know about yourself that you need to basically become aware of and work on. I think it's also a little exciting to just realize something that like a few months ago you never even thought about yourself. It's exciting, it's scary. I've had a lot of releases that just came out of nowhere where I'm just sitting there and I'm just crying out of nowhere, but I know, where it's coming from. So yes, I think just knowing that it's a continuous process. It never
Yeah.
ends.
Yeah, because I've worked with people and I used to be one of the people
Hmm.
who would say, "Well, I did this already. I'm over it." And then it would resurface and I'm like, "But I already did the work for that."
Hmm.
Um I think one of the biggest misconceptions about doing the work is that it's a one-time thing and that things won't come back up for you.
Right.
Because the truth is, we are physical, we are spiritual, we are mental, and we are emotional beings.
Hmm.
Now, I'm a firm believer in not sitting in those emotions and things that come up, but a lot of people feel like they can kind of suppress them without processing them, without accepting what has happened, and without releasing them. And that's
Right.
really how you heal anything. So, if if you are unwilling to accept and release, then
Hmm.
you ain't really doing the work.
Agreed.
And a lot of
Agreed.
people want the change without doing the things that create the change.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
think
Yep.
that's kind of insane. Change doesn't just fall into your lap. It doesn't fall out of the sky. It
Hmm.
comes because you created change. You did something
Hmm.
different.
Agreed. If you want peace, you have to do the work to get that peace. Yep.
So, like I just said, as long as we are having this human experience, life is going to life.
Hmm.
So, what do you do? How do you stay centered? How do you maintain your own energy and inner peace when life does start lifing?
Sure. So as you stated, we are spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical beings. So you have to take care of all four components in order to just have peace and a good quality of life. For me, meditating is huge, being able to just calm my brain down. So I could just hear myself, hear the angelics, just be able to just hear what I'm truly supposed to be doing. That's key for me. Of course, exercising, nutrition, juicing, um, being able to also not fully identify with, whatever you're currently going with, just
Mhm.
observing it has been huge for me because yes, life be life, and sometimes you kind of forget that you are, source at the end of the day, and of course a physical being. So just being able to sometimes differentiate that helps tremendously.
So, this outfit that you have on today, I just want to say something, and I
Okay.
don't think you knew this. When we
Okay.
would meet weekly, I would kind of in my mind, like, what is she gonna have on today? How is her hair going to be today? Because when I say you put it on, you put it
No,
on.
thank
You
you.
are also a certified stylist. So can you talk a little bit about how style is connected to self-worth and identity?
Yeah. So even to kind of go backwards, so I started off before I even started this journey. I started off as a personal stylist, and I've always been into fashion, so I just figured that's clearly what I needed to do. But I didn't fully enjoy it,
Oh,
and I didn't really understand why I didn't enjoy it. But now it just kind of all makes sense. You can't just put the clothes on somebody without fixing what's going on the inside. And now just being able to just know that you can work on a woman like from the inside to the outside just makes so much more sense. How you look on the outside is the first representation of you. It represents who you think that you are, essentially. So it's clearly identified to your identity. But first, you do have to do that inner work, just so if you do wear that trendy outfit, you're not walking around with your head down. You fully, own who you are. I do believe that there's no wrong or right way to dress. You just have to like what you're wearing. Like it's completely insane to wear something that you do not like or you don't identify with. And that's really what my work is, just making sure, not putting you in what I think looks nice, just making sure that you feel authentically you in what you're wearing.
so is it possible for you to tell when someone is like when their outer appearance doesn't match what's going on inside? Like can you see when a person is hiding themselves through their clothes, through their attire?
Um, yes, you can. I think you can clearly see if somebody's uncomfortable, if they're shifting a lot, if they're looking down. You could tell when somebody is clearly not confident in who they are. So yes, you can.
So what would your advice to those people be?
Um, it's typically not about the clothing, it's about some kind of identity that we
Yeah.
need to figure out. So we need to do some inner work just to figure out if even if you're wearing a beautiful outfit, is that truly what you want to wear? Is that truly your style? Are you wearing heels but you're really like a sneakers person? Are you wearing heels because you saw this person wear it? Like you have to figure out your personal style and it doesn't have to look like how someone else looks. So if you're not looking comfortable in what you're wearing, we got to figure out what's going on inside.
So authenticity shows through your style.
It does, yes, completely.
So have you ever had a moment where changing your appearance in some way, whether it was your hair, your accessories, your clothes, and that shifted something for you
Yes,
internally?
definitely. Definitely. I could use my workplace as an example. Um, when I started my current position, I was in my, I guess, old identity where I was very extremely shy, people pleasing, did not know how to say no, and I carried how I dressed into work like that. I My friends used to say I used to dress like I'm homeless. Nothing wrong with being homeless, but that's what they used to say. But then when I'm out with my friends, I have a completely different, way of dressing. And I didn't realize that I knew I dressed differently at work, but I didn't realize you're hiding at work. You don't really want people to see who you truly are. So once I, awakened to that, I started just bringing my personal style a little bit to work, and it actually helped me feel more confident because now I'm actually dressing like me versus wearing something to just shrink and hide at work, you know.
Right.
So yeah.
Because I have on a, you can't see it fully, but I have on a two-piece right now, two-piece
Okay.
pinstripe suit. And I'm
Okay.
feeling very business-like right now.
Yes. I love it.
So how do you, when clients are working with you, how do you help bridge the gap between inner healing and outer expression?
Sure. So again, the first thing you have to do is just release the old identity. So bring awareness into who you currently are, if it aligns with who you want to be. And once we work on just releasing that old identity, self-limiting beliefs, anything that's basically just not working for you anymore, you can actually also then realize how you want to dress. It actually makes my job easier because once you've, worked on the inner, you have more clarity on how you actually want to show up because you know who you truly are now. And then we can just work on some tweaking on, things that you just need help with. But that inner work is the main foundation.
So it's an inside out journey.
Correct.
Okay. Um, what happens when someone does the inner work, but they don't want to change the outer appearance, even if it's not a true reflection of who they are internally? Is there like a mental conflict? Is that, do you see that as like a fear of truly being seen as their authentic selves?
Yes. So if you've worked on inner things, but you don't want to change on the outside, I think then there's probably more inner things that you need to work on because it literally makes no sense to completely work on knowing who you are authentically, but then not wanting to fully express that. That means there's probably more work that needs to be done. It goes together. Like once you truly know who you are, your outer expression just naturally aligns to that.
Okay.
So we have to figure out the why.
What would you say to someone who feels disconnected from themselves and doesn't know where to start internally or externally? I just, Henrietta, help me. I feel like my life is in shambles. I feel horrible on the inside. I dress like I don't love myself. I don't know what to do or where to start.
Yeah. Um, I would say starting with things that you probably went through as a child, like any traumas that you had, your relationship with your parents, your mom, your dad, just things that you went through as a child. Because I've noticed that we carry a lot of what we went through as a child into adulthood, and we may not even be aware of it. So just bringing awareness into how the things you went through is impacting who you are today. Sometimes you just think, hey, I went through this trauma, but that's not why I'm depressed. But no, there's some kind of link to that. So awareness is probably the first key.
Okay. Because a lot of people are out here and they are experiencing things that they don't want to experience, but they are
Yeah.
creating them, and
Hmm.
subconsciously they don't realize that this is the reason why you keep repeating this same cycle.
Right.
So you would say get to the root of the issue,
Correct.
awareness, acceptance, release it, and then we can have a solid foundation to build on.
Correct.
So what is one truth that you had to accept that truly changed things for you? What is the truth that you accepted that you said, you know what, from here on out, it's up? Because I know this, because I am aware of this,
Yeah.
I will never go back.
I think we kind of mentioned it that you are the creator of your reality. I think once you truly understand that and you've worked on the things that you need to work on, you can start creating the reality that you want. Um, Yeah, yeah, I
What do
think
you
that's
say to the person who says, I didn't create this mess? I didn't create this reality. There's no way I would have created this for myself. What do you say
yeah.
to that person?
There's no one thing that you can say to them. You probably have to have multiple sessions with them, but through letting them know of the little things like your subconscious that you stated, you have to kind of put both of them together. Like you went through this, so subconsciously your body feels safe doing X, Y, and Z. So that's why your reality shows what you currently, what your current identity is on the inside. It's going to be a lot, but yeah.
And I think it's important to remind people like we all know this on the most basic level.
Hmm.
Everything is energy,
Hmm.
everything is energetic. Some people have experiences that other people will never have because they're simply not an energetic match to it. So if you want something different than the hell that you've created for yourself, you have to do something different.
Right.
You have to accept that yes, you contributed to this energy
Right.
because you are an energetic match to chaos. Some people are
Right.
are energetic matches to chaos,
Hmm.
and when they don't get it, their nervous system is like, "Oh, I need that hit. I need that
Hmm.
hit."
Hmm.
That's why
Hmm.
some people they'll try or they'll start doing the work, and then it feels uncomfortable because they need that hit of chaos.
Hmm. That makes a lot of
So
sense. Yeah.
yeah, you have to go above that and understand that some things may not feel like they resonate with you based on who you are becoming because they resonate with the past versions of you. And if it resonates with the past version of you, but you are in the process of becoming something else, then we need to
Hmm.
move forward. We need to release that. We need to accept and
Right.
release those things.
Hmm.
So, Henrietta, this has been a beautiful conversation. And I'm going to ask you if there is one thing that you would leave the audience with, what is it?
um, I've been saying this lately, so I feel like I need to say this here too, because you don't know who else needs to hear it. But basically, that you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. Like you stated, you currently just feel like your current reality just matches what you're currently aligned with, and that's okay. You just need to now have awareness of that to create the reality that you currently want.
And how can they connect with you if they want to reach out, they want to connect on social media, if they want to start working with you, how can the audience find you?
Sure. So on the socials, I am House of the Radiance Rose on Instagram, TikTok, all the places. And my website is houseoftheradiantrose.com. And that's how you can work with me.
Well, I really truly appreciate you being here. And the truth of the matter is, you are the creator of your reality. You have always been the creator of your reality. And if you were unaware of that, take this as confirmation to start creating with intention so that you can create a life that you love, desire, and deserve. Until next time, we will see you again.
Thank you.